Okay, Dina, chin up, shoulders back, one foot in front of the other. Simple, right? Wrong. You try walking the metaphorical catwalk of life when you're a peacock amongst pigeons. Not that I have anything against pigeons. Some of my best friends are pigeons. More like, imagine being a rose bush in a field of cacti. Beautiful, but boy, do I stick out. Every meal is a tribute to junk food. Pizza crusts stack up in the trash like the Leaning Tower of Pizza. And let's not get started on the half-empty soda bottles threatening to topple over at any second. My family? They wouldn't know a salad if it came up and introduced itself. I look at the mirror, giving myself a once-over. I think, Dina, all you need is some mascara and a good angle, and bam! Miss Universe! But then reality hits hard. I'm not saying I'm ugly. No, I just grew up with the wrong crowd. And by crowd, I mean family. A family that considers bathing optional and has an ongoing feud with the toothbrush. But hey, they're mine and I love them. I think. You're adopted, Dina, my mom blurted out over dinner one night, amidst the chaos of my hoarder family. I almost choked on my meatloaf. The irony, huh? Wait, what? Come again? I asked, my heart pounding in my chest. My mom had this habit of dropping bombshells casually. You heard me, she replied, her face calm. We adopted you. And with that, the avalanche of truth descended upon me. You know what they say about truth? It sets you free. Well, for me, it just got me stuck into a rabbit hole. I found a box in the attic, a dusty old box containing secrets about me and my life. An envelope inside had my name on it, and I was shocked to see the picture inside. A young, fashionable couple stared back at me. No way, I muttered, my fingers tracing their features. In a letter, they wrote they were models, too young to handle a baby, and deeply sorry for giving me up. But I couldn't see past the fact that they were my biological parents. The news hit me hard, and I confronted Mom. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I asked, holding the letter and the picture. She shrugged. I thought it wouldn't matter. We're your family, Dina. You thought wrong. I could barely contain my anger. This is who I am. Look at them, Mom. Look at me. I was never meant for this life. She looked at me, her eyes filling with tears. You were always beautiful to us, Dina. But that's not enough, is it? I replied. I need to find them. I need to know why. My world was turned upside down. My family, the slobs I'd grown up with, were not my real family, and somewhere out there were my real parents, beautiful, glamorous, and completely different from what I knew. Years passed after finding those adoption papers, like sand slipping through the hourglass. Fear gripped me, not allowing me to dig deeper to confront the truth, so I buried myself in distractions, settling into a comfortable yet uninspiring routine. I married Richard, a man of high ambitions, low empathy, and questionable morals. My heart didn't skip beats for him, nor did his for me. We were just two people drowning in the illusion of companionship. The mundanity of life was broken one evening when I found a neatly folded stack of papers in the trash. The words, divorce papers, written in bold, didn't need any explanation. My heart hammered in my chest. As much as Richard and I didn't share a fairy tale love, the papers still felt like a blow. So, this is how it ends, huh? With papers, not words? I asked Richard that night, throwing the divorce papers on the coffee table. He looked at me, sadness clouding his usually sparkly eyes. Dina, I'm just not attracted to you anymore. The words hung in the air, their sting sharper than the silence that followed. Crushed, I drowned myself in a tub of mint chocolate chip ice cream, my only solace. The next day at work, Richard called me into his office. He looked at me with a solemn expression, and I knew. Am I fired? I asked, not needing any confirmation. Richard just nodded, his face grave. Is this because I'm too fat? The question felt sour, but I had to ask. He didn't answer, and I didn't need him to. Everything was crystal clear. My weight, my appearance, the divorce, it was all interconnected. Tears stung my eyes, but I held them back. This was not the end of me. I was more than Richard's wife, more than an employee. I was Dina, and it was time to rediscover who that was. After the storm of my breakup and job loss, I was floating in a sea of despair. But the adoption papers I'd discovered years ago became a life raft. "Siri, call the adoption agency," I requested, fingers trembling. Getting a hold of my real dad's number felt like finding a treasure chest, but there was a lock. The voicemail. "Ciao, Giuseppe." His voice flowed like a smooth Tuscan wine. "Hello, Giuseppe?" I stuttered, voice trembling. "This might sound strange, but I believe you're my father." "Mamma mia, really?" His voice full of surprise. "I didn't think I'd ever hear from you. I'd love to meet you. Come to Italy." Stepping off a plane in Italy a week later felt like stepping into a dream. The Colosseum, the piazzas, the food, all amazing. When I finally met Giuseppe, it was like looking into a mirror. "Dina?" he asked, his voice shaking. "Si, I am Giuseppe, your dad," he confirmed, his eyes swimming with tears. "I can't believe it," I managed to say, tears streaming down my cheeks. "I've waited so long for this." "I'm sorry, Dina. It's complicated. We were too young, too reckless. We didn't know how to be parents then," he confessed, guilt clouding his eyes. Giuseppe then introduced me to a lifestyle I'd only seen in movies. Fashion shows, Michelin star restaurants, and early morning yoga sessions. "We'll find your mother in Paris," he promised one day after we finished a risotto in Rome. "We'll do it together." And so my Italian adventure was just about to turn French. Life in Italy passed like a montage in a Hollywood movie. Late-night conversations about our shared love for chocolate, impromptu cooking lessons where Giuseppe taught me the secrets of making the perfect pasta. In those moments, I found the father I had yearned for. "Ready for Paris, Bella?" Giuseppe asked, his eyes twinkling with anticipation. I couldn't believe it. I was about to meet my mother. Arriving in Paris was just as magical as arriving in Italy. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the fashion, the city was a living postcard. "Mon Dieu, this is incredible!" I exclaimed. Finding my mother wasn't easy, though. Giuseppe had to pull several strings, make countless calls, even seek help from his old friends. Finally, one day, we found her. Living alone in a small Parisian apartment was my mother. She was a shell of her former self, her once vibrant eyes now reflecting the struggles of a terminal illness. But despite her frailty, there was a serene beauty about her. "Bella," she whispered when we first met, her voice frail yet warm. "I'm so sorry I couldn't be there for you." I held her hand, tears streaming down my face. "It's okay, Mom," I replied. "You're here now. That's all that matters." Over the next few days, we tried to make up for the lost time. We'd sit together, talking about everything, her modeling days, my childhood, our shared love for chocolate. There were no hospital visits, no dreaded medical terms, just us enjoying our precious time together. One evening, as we sat overlooking the Paris skyline, she turned to me. "I'm glad you found me, Bella," she said, a tear rolling down her cheek. "I regret not being there for you, but seeing you now, it's brought me so much joy." Her words warmed my heart. For the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of contentment. I had found my family, found love and acceptance. I knew then that everything was going to be okay. And as I sat there, holding my mother's hand, I could only think of one thing: la belle vie. After my mom's passing, life was a whirl of emotions. But Dad, or should I say Giuseppe, taught me about my roots, my heritage. He also revealed the secret of the Italian diet. "Bella," he'd say in our kitchen, our sanctuary, "food, It's amore. It's love. And nothing tastes better than love served with a hearty sprinkle of olive oil. With him, I learned. I blossomed. I could see the change. The chubby, unkempt woman was a relic of the past. I was new, a phoenix reborn from the ashes, all thanks to a dash of love, a splash of olive oil, and a whole lot of self-worth. One day, scrolling through my feed, I saw it. My ex's company, my ex-job, was hiring. The irony was too delicious, like a cherry on a sundae. The universe served it, and I was ready to take a bite. "Dad, look!" I showed Giuseppe the ad. His lips curled into a smile. "Should I apply?" "Bella, why not?" he chuckled. "Give them a taste of the new you." The new me. I liked that. I wanted them to see what they had missed, so I did it. I applied under a new name, Isabella Rossi. The name had a ring to it. Cut to 3 months later, I'm back in the game. Only now I'm not the fat, unattractive wife. I'm Isabella Rossi, the stylish, stunning, confident woman. Platinum blonde hair, blue contacts, makeup on point, and clothes that scream fashion. "You seem familiar," my ex-husband remarked in our first meeting. A smug grin formed on my face. If only he knew. "I get that a lot," I said, keeping the grin intact. "Must be one of those faces." He nodded, clueless. And that, my friends, is the sweet taste of revenge. Back in the office, I was the mysterious new employee, Isabella. Funny how new hair and a fresh style can fool people. Even the man who used to share my bed and fired me. One day, as I was making myself a cup of coffee in the break room, in walked none other than my ex-husband. He stopped in his tracks when he saw me. "Isabella," he said, trying to catch his breath, "I was hoping to find you here." "What a coincidence," I replied with a smirk, stirring my coffee. "I was hoping you'd walk in." "You remind me so much of someone I used to know," he confessed, looking at me with a nostalgic sadness in his eyes. "Really?" I asked, feigning surprise. "Who might that be?" "My ex-wife," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't appreciate her when she was around. Now she's gone, and I can't help but miss her." "Sounds like a sob story," I remarked, biting my lip to stop from grinning. "What did you do?" I didn't appreciate her enough. I judged her, made her feel unworthy." He sounded genuinely remorseful, and for a moment I felt a pang of, was it sympathy? No, it couldn't be. Deciding to take the plunge, I asked him, "If she was here now, what would you say to her?" "I would apologize," he said without missing a beat. "I would tell her that she deserved better, and that I was a fool not to see that." That was my cue. I looked him straight in the eyes and said, "Well, here's your chance." His jaw dropped. "Dina?" "Surprise," I said, laughing at his shocked face. "Your unworthy ex-wife is right here. What do you have to say now?" He stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence. His eyes were wide, his face pale. He was at a loss for words, and it was the most satisfying thing I've ever seen. Dina, But I cut him off. "Save it. I don't need your apologies now. You made your choice, and I made mine. And you know what? I have never been better."